hello, oh, hello! Oh, I only like my voice if it is amplified into your eardrums. How are we doing, everyone? Yes! I'll make you do a shake after the next one because I feel that lugginess, but we'll pull it back together. But we have an amazing 2 presenters for you once again because we're giving you double dose all this afternoon. Now, these next 2 presenters actually share a podcast together called Clienting. They are the marketing director and founder of AttorneySync. And let's just get things started right away. Well, y'all get up here first. Get seated. I want to hear cheers. Guys, let's cheer these people in. Come on, let's get in. Come on. I see you all. I love it. Get closer. We love the love, but don't touch. Because it's, yeah. Well, I mean, there's screens in between us, so you can't, but there's, yeah. Now this is just awkward. Anyways, so again, the marketing director and founder of AttorneySync, podcast together, Clienting, the one and only Tsakalakis and Kelly Street.
Hello.
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 Feel free to move up. I'm Guy. Kelly.
I'm Kelly. You guys ready to talk about marketing today?
So we'd love for this to be more workshop-y. We've got slides. We're going to present some stuff. But if you've got questions, we've got mics. Feel free to interrupt. But we only got 35 minutes also, so we're going to have to go kind of quickly. Let's dive right in.
All right.
You have the clicker?
I don't have the clicker. Where's the clicker? Oh,
the
rookie
clicker.
mistake. We're getting it. We'll go there. All right. This did not translate well, but we're going to be talking about search marketing trends that you need to pay attention to, and then ones that you can probably just kind of forget are trends and ignore them.
Yeah, and I think the kind of the theme here in accordance with the theme of the conference is I want you to start thinking about search marketing like potential client experience in search results, right? So we're going to try to make a better experience for our next clients using search engines. And I think if you frame it that way, a lot of this stuff will resonate a lot more than the classic rank for a keyword that doesn't have the same value. But we'll get into that.
First and foremost, Google turned 20. It seems like they've been around for forever. I've been Googling for a long time, but they're actually only 20 years old. So really haven't been part of our marketing landscape for that long when you think about it.
Yeah, and I think with that kind of 20-year anniversary, it makes you think, one, the way that we use search engines and the way that your potential clients use search engines is constantly evolving. So it changes the types of things they search on, what they're looking for. And it also is a nod to the technology isn't perfect, right? I mean, Google's amazing, don't get me wrong. Most well-funded, educated company perhaps in the history of humankind, maybe. But there's still holes in the technology, and so I think it's important to have that context that you'll hear things like spam, black hat, and my cautionary tale to you is this. Some of that stuff does still work, but it works until it doesn't work, right? And so if you're investing time and money to try to game Google, even if you get a leg up in the short term, on the long term, it's going to be really hard to compete with trying to trick these guys because they're pretty sharp.
Yes. So first and foremost, when we're talking about SEO and SEM, what do we mean? It's kind of this great acronym that we're just like, oh yeah, search engine optimization, search engine marketing, but what are these different things? So when you think about search engine marketing, you're thinking about the ads that you see at the top of Google search, and then below, your pay-per-click, formerly AdWords, now Google Ads, and then SEO, a little bit different. This is your organic and your local map, your local pack.
Right, and so, ads you pay Google for per click most of the time, and organic, you, in a nutshell, need people to link to your pages, share your pages, talk about your pages, and a lot of people will say there's some wizardry behind SEO. It's really a lot less wizardry than you think. I mean, there's some technical things you have to know, but I think another thing that for framing this conversation is to think about search in the way that you think about some of your other client development strategies. It's putting good stuff out there that people actually want to consume, link to, and share. Keep reminding yourself of that as we have this conversation today.
So how do clients find lawyers?
Anybody want to just shout out some ideas? How do clients look, search, and Avo, Conrad, thank you. Word of mouth. Yep. That's a very good one. Google Maps. Yeah, good one. So there's a lot of different ways that people look for lawyers, and my kind of take on this is that more and more, no matter how someone gets a lawyer's name or is referred to a lawyer, whether it's word of mouth, a friend, a family member, they're going to go look the lawyer up, right? They want to know more information about the lawyer. They want to know what their reputation is. They want to know what other clients say. And the first place they're likely to go to for that search is more and more likely to be Google. And so the first way that people really look for lawyers on search engines, this is how it ties into SEO, is searches on your name, right? They type your name plus attorney, maybe your law firm's name. And so if you do nothing else with SEO or SEM or the internet in general, I would suggest that you keep an eye on the conversation that's going on about you on a search result for your name.
Yeah, and I think we heard from Clio's Trends Report last year that there are still more referrals than anything else, and that's how people are finding lawyers. But what do you think people are doing after they get your name as a referral? Of course they are looking you up online. They're not just going to blindly call you unless you're, I don't know, their cousin. They're not just going to blindly call you and say, hey, what can you do for me? They're going to make sure you are who you say you are or who your friend said they are, and they're going to make sure you look like someone they would be comfortable with working with and giving their money to.
So our great friend Erin was willing to be a guinea pig for us in our talk, and we wanted to point out some good things that she's doing. Oh, I was looking at the wrong one, sorry.
No.
Google My Business is the first place to go to make sure that you have control of what Google's showing for searches on your name, your firm name. It's free, so just go to Google My Business, follow all their instructions, fill out all the information. A couple high notes. And good examples that EHG law firm is doing here. Be conscientious about the images you're using in your Google My Business listing. Use if you can, a picture of yourself is great, a picture of you at work. If you've got clients that are willing to agree, you can also now put videos in your Google My Business listing. And this is how a lot of people are going to form their first impression of your practice after they get your name. This is where you should be, in my opinion, should be spending the lion's share of your Google marketing time if you're going to be doing a lot of this stuff yourself. Deliver great client experiences, nudge them towards going to your Google My Business listing to leave reviews, because that's going to be the primary first impression for people that go look you up online.
And one of the other things we wanted to call out were the hours. So, of course, she has that she is open and closes at 5 p.m. The great thing about Google My Business listings that you can do is add in your holidays that you're off. And if you're here as a solo practitioner and you have your Google My Business listing, but you know you are not available during this time, make sure that Google knows that your business is closed. Otherwise, potential clients are calling you and they're not able to get a hold of you and they're wondering what's going on, and they are just next down on the list because you didn't pick up your phone.
So Google My Business, big takeaway from this one.
Another part of Google My Business are the posts. These are becoming more and more important. They make your Google My Business listing profile so much more rich, and they call more attention to you. People can see that you're doing things consistently online and that you're active and you're probably more readily available to them. So we have a few things listed here. The first is we call out reviews from...
So if you use, check out the tool Google, Small Thanks with Google. You can take a review that's on your Google My Business page, feed it into this tool, and it'll give you this pretty little, you can pick different colors, different design elements, and then take the image from the Small Thanks with Google and put it on posts, and now you've added an extra area for client testimonials on your Google My Business listing that's going to show up for those searches on your name, searches on your firm. And it's very compelling, right, because it jumps off the page. You've got design element control that you don't have with other areas on search result pages.
Another thing that's really important is the option, or Google My Business post, is offers. So that's the second one we have listed here. And you can just even do a free consultation if that's something that you offer, or free 15-minute phone call, anything like that that can kind of hook people. And it's sort of marketing, it's sort of advertising, but it also just builds out that post. And then the last one is a Minneapolis law firm. They're an immigration firm. They have the most amazing Google My Business posts that I've seen. They just are constantly updating it and adding new and different things, like they're introducing new lawyers in their firm, or a wide variety of things. But to slightly backtrack and go back to the main Google My Business listing, the other thing they also do that was incredible is, as an immigration firm, they have people asking them questions, the question and answer on Google My Business listing. And they are responding to those questions immediately, and they are responding in Spanish if the question asker submits a question in Spanish. It's awesome. So I would definitely maybe look up Wilson Law Group and see what they're doing on their Google My Business listing.
And then for folks, yep.
How do you get editorial control over your Google My Business?
You just go, so they'll walk you through the process, but basically you search to see if they've already created a listing for you in there. If they have, you just click it, claim it, so you're just connecting your email basically to it, and then you have to verify it. Once you verify it, you'll have access to be able to enter the information, update it, and take control of it. If there's not a listing there for you, they'll give you the option to create one. So a couple quick pro tips for the people that are a little bit more familiar with this stuff and sophisticated tracking of their marketing. Use URL parameters in your website link and your appointment link, and you can track in analytics that the number of people that are actually clicking on that particular link on your Google My Business profile. That way you can actually tie back clicks from Google My Business to your website. Ultimately, if you're using Clio, into Clio and towards a fee, and that's going to be kind of the framework for being able to track return on your time and money spent on this part of Google. You can also put parameters in your post URL, so you can see if your posts are actually resonating with your audience. Google has some insights data on this stuff, but it's not as effective in terms of actually measuring who's clicking on what and where. It's actually putting URL parameters. You can go, because we're limited on time, I can't explain the whole way of creating URL parameters, but if you go search for it, it's really not that hard. It's just a question mark and some UTM codes. And be mindful of the buttons that you use. So if you want to do an appointment, there's book, appointment. That's a much different psychological call to action than something like learn more or subscribe or download. But if you're doing a bunch of different content marketing, your posts with the button are a really effective way to get that content in front of people that are searching on your name.
All right, more fun stuff, structured data and snippets. Of course, we had to call out Patrick Palace. He's everybody's favorite. And he does some really great stuff with structured data.
Yeah, so a couple things I just want to point out on this listing here. You'll notice the Facebook listing. So Facebook's generating those little stars through structured data on Facebook, right? So Google's crawling the Facebook page, seeing that structured data, and showing that review snippet. So the good news is you can also use that same structured data markup on your own site. So if you have a testimonials page or maybe your attorney bio page, if you use aggregate review markup schema or JSON LD, you can actually generate those snippets. So when someone searches on your name, your bio page is very likely to be one of the first spots. And then you can also include testimonial snippets that jump off the page. And again, talking about that potential client experience, these are the types of things they want to see. They want to see what clients have to say about you, the experience that you provided them, the service that you provided them. And again, it's another way to validate that on your own site as well.
Oh. There we go. Video. We absolutely had to call out Jess here because she is really using video and maximizing it in all of her marketing efforts. And so what she's doing with video is so great. It's coming up in her search results. You can see, as a potential client, things where she's talking about her experience as a lawyer, how she works with clients, and it just makes you really excited to be like, oh, let me click on this and find more about her, and then you know exactly what the experience of working with you is going to be like because she tells you in her videos what working with her will be like.
Right, and that's what people care about, right? Like it's a relationship, reputation business, and so video is a very effective medium to be able to communicate what you're like, why you do what you do. It shows up in searches on your name if you're, whether you're using YouTube or some other platform. And again, you can also add now videos to your Google Posts and Google My Business, I think actually there's a video section as well. Those will show up right on the side there underneath that knowledge panel to the right of the search results. So really powerful way to help form a first impression with a potential client that's searching on your name.
Yeah, and Google, of course, is the #1 search platform, but YouTube is the #2 search platform. So people are going there to look for a lot of things too. All right, again, how do clients find lawyers?
Right, so we covered in the we would call a branded search, searches on your name, searches on your firm. The next probably biggest thing that people do on Google is ask a question, right? And in fact, I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that lawyers make is everybody thinks that all of their potential clients search on some pattern of practice area, city, attorney, right? So like Chicago divorce lawyer, Chicago personal injury lawyer. And in fact, those are business lookup searches. They actually represent a much smaller number of the total searches than you'll see in terms of compared to like something like a research asking a question. And so the other nice thing is that they tend to be a lot less competitive to actually appear for. So if you're putting content, creating content on your pages, answering questions, frequently asked question sections, getting that stuff optimized properly, you're much more likely to appear for those kind of searches than trying to rank for the same handful of what they'd call head term searches that everybody else is paying thousands of dollars to try to rank for. And again, those might be very targeted and lower funnel types of potential clients, but there's this whole universe of people that are looking for information. They don't even realize they need a lawyer yet, and so part of their journey is going to be trying to find answers, and that's where you come in with providing some of those answers on your website.
And then along with those very specific searches, one of the things that you want to be paying attention to are the featured snippets, also called Spot Zero in your searches. But this is the searching that you're doing where you get the results back and you either have one thing called out or you only get one result. And it's rich content. It's something that answers Google has determined most fully answers the searcher's query, and you get this with all of the little kind of mini added options at the bottom, so you can kind of customize like, oh, okay, yep, I do wonder about how to file for divorce, but oh, there we go, I'm in Georgia, so I'm gonna tag that on there. And then also, of course, the people also ask.
Yeah, I think there's one more point because, again, this is an area where you could dive really deep just about featured snippets for the whole talk. Check out Stat Search Analytics. They have a bunch of white papers and reports about search intent and crafting content in a way that's more likely to influence generating a featured snippet. Really, really good stuff, all free to download. But if you're interested in trying to claim these position 0 spots, I think that'd be the starting point for me.
All right. Once more. How do clients find lawyers? Beyond, as Guy mentioned, beyond looking for your name and beyond asking a question and then getting to know that they will need a lawyer, of course, there's the look for a lawyer near me, the personal injury, car accident, New Orleans, Louisiana lawyer near me.
Yeah, and I think the other thing this is the place that everybody wants to focus on, right? Like this is acquisition. This is people that don't know you. They think they need a lawyer. They're looking for a lawyer. A couple things I'd just point out. One is proximity matters to the overwhelming majority of legal services consumers. So even when we talk to plaintiffs' lawyers, they'll say, well, for the right case, I would go anywhere in the state. We practice statewide. You've got to think about how your strategy and if you're using AdWords, how you're bidding relates to proximity. Quick version is, if you're trying to convert people that are very far away, your conversion rates are going to tend to be lower just based on the consumer's view of the proximity, right? So if you're in Chicago and you're bidding on keywords downstate Illinois, your conversion rates aren't going to be as good. So even though you might want to advertise to those folks, you might adjust your strategy, your bidding, the messaging to recognize that it's not the same search intent as somebody that's in Chicago looking for you. So don't overlook proximity. I know that lawyers tend to be like, oh yeah, I practice statewide. Think about it from the client's perspective. Think about their experience. Are they going to be as likely to hire you if they've got to, they've got to drive, right? That's another thing too, marketing-wise. If you offer your services in a way that you can interface with clients remotely, make sure you're putting that messaging out there so that, again, if you spend money to acquire that client, communicate to them that, hey, you actually don't need to come into Chicago for a lot of the representation. That's going to help them have a better experience and also be more likely to convert as well, which is good for you guys.
So what does this actually look like? Personal injury lawyers, New Orleans, Louisiana. Of course, at the top of every search result, you're going to see the ads. Lovely 3 ads here.
Yeah, I mean, my big thing is if you're going to manage your own ads, spend the time to learn how this stuff works, right? I mean, so many accounts we look at, Google makes it very easy to go spend money on Google. It's very easy to open an account up. It's very easy to pick your keywords and start running ads. It's very difficult to actually consistently generate return on ad spend without some knowledge about all sorts of nuances about their ad platform. And their ad platform is continuing to get more sophisticated. And so it's really more of, for me, as a cautionary tale. Spend the time learning before you go dump money into AdWords. So many lawyers just conclude, well, AdWords doesn't work for me, or my clients don't click on ads. And the truth is, it's like, it failed because of the way you implement the campaign. This is not the same thing as just like running a TV ad or a billboard or taking an ad out in a bar journal. This is a much more sophisticated advertising method. And again, this is a 30 minutes, so I can't get in all the nuances, but I wanted to at least say that so that you're not walking out of here being like, oh, Guy and Kelly said, go open up AdWords accounts and bid on lawyer, and then expect that you're going to get some kind of result from that.
Yeah. And as someone who is more on the content marketing side of things, I really want to call out the copy that each of these ads are using, because if you're looking at record-setting case victories, free case evaluation, how much is my case worth? Each of those ads are kind of pointing to a different search intent or a different want or a different need. And so testing out the different copy that you're using is another point. Before you say that it failed you, make sure that you're testing out different things like that, because each one of these people is going to get a different kind of client depending on what they have written in their ad copy. So.
Absolutely. And again, if you're going to do advertising, you've got to define what success is going to look like for you, make forecasts in advance. If you're working with someone that's helping you with this stuff, make sure you're having those conversations up front, because otherwise, you don't want to be measuring success by things like dollars spent, number of clicks, ad positions, impressions. You want to be measuring things like return on ad spend, whatever, like a more marketing business objective for your practice. There's all sorts of ways to use AdWords, but make sure that you're tying the success of it back to something tangible for your business and not just blindly, pouring money into, funding the big Google machine. Another big trend watch that's been more recent, these local ads. So historically, their local pack has been completely organic, meaning that you couldn't pay to have a spot there. Google's opened that up. My hunch is that you're going to start seeing a lot more ads in the local pack. I think that that's a natural place for Google to monetize on small business. Unfortunately, right now, you can't actually tightly managed to that spot. There's some things you can do to try to influence showing up there. But I wanted to point that out because that's kind of a newer thing, and a lot of folks have been confused about, oh, I thought that local pack were completely organic. Be prepared for more ads showing up in local, in my opinion.
All right, and then voice search. I'm guessing if I just hit play here. There we go.
Hey Siri, how do I file a workers' comp claim in Minnesota?
My web search turned something up for how do I file a workers' comp claim in Minnesota. Have a look.
Hey Siri, find me a workers' comp lawyer.
One possibility I see nearby is Senti or Psychotherapy on Cleveland Avenue South in St. Paul. Want to try that one?
No, Siri, find me a lawyer.
The second is Shoemaker and Shoemaker on International Drive, Bloomington. About 3 miles to your south. Want to try that one?
Thanks, Siri.
No problem.
All right, so I kept this video even though Siri didn't give me what I wanted right away, just to show you that voice search is not infallible. It is not perfect yet. It is something that you do need to be watching for, do need to be looking for, but it's still not totally there yet.
Yeah, I might say I've been a little bit, I think there's a lot of hype around voice search right now. I think it's an exciting technology. Google's obviously making a lot, all the majors are making huge investments in natural language processing because they know that this is the future of how we're going to engage with devices. Today for you, though, I would say this is a little bit further down the horizon. I think be cognizant of it. If you have a Google Home device or an Alexa, if you use a voice assistant on your phone, I think it's useful to be doing the research to see what they're showing, which firms are coming up. I don't think this is a top priority for you, but I do think that it's something to have on your radar, because if you talk to a kid, the kids, they interact with these voice products by natively, right? They don't even think to actually look for the keypad anymore. It's a huge indicator of where we're going to go for interfacing. However, right now, I do think that, in terms of things that you, quote unquote, can ignore, I would be aware of it, but not stressing about it too much. But if you really want to future-proof your practice, I'd be starting to look into how to mark up your pages so that they voice search, it works well on voice search. You're showing up in these local packs so that you're the result when people are asking these questions, and when they're looking for lawyers that on voice, that you're still the ones showing up.
And one of the things when people do ask about voice search, the response in how to come up in voice search, the #1 response we give is just do good SEO. Just do good SEO. If you're coming up #1 for your other searches and on the actual search results page, you're going to be just fine. So do good SEO overall, and that's kind of how you can figure out the voice search landscape. Google updates. All right, so there are always these this Google update, and how did this affect you, and how does this affect law? And generally, frankly, Google updates are not going to break your website or cause you to soar through the roof, typically. The last Google update they did was Medic, and they call it Medic because it tended to affect the Your Money, Your Life websites, which is often law firm websites, but more so affects the health industry, which is why they ended up calling it Medic.
Yeah, I don't obsess about these updates. I mean, there's thousands of updates they do every single year. The search industry goes out and publishes, and it's like, oh, the sky is falling, so everybody's scared, so they call the SEOs up to try to fix their penalties and all this stuff. And in the last 10 years of doing this, I would say maybe there have been less than a handful of these updates that actually tactically change what you should be doing. Again, it's still the same things. You got to have the technical stuff right on your site. They're getting better at being able to distinguish signal from noise. You've got to get quality links pointing back to your site, people talking about you, talking about your practice online, sharing your pages, getting in front of people. These updates, I think that's another one where we tend to hyper-focus on this stuff. So I would say put that a little bit lower on your priority list. Put out great content, market that content, get it in front of audience that can link to it, and then you don't have to worry about these updates because you're aligning your interests with Google as opposed to trying to game them.
All right, we have 3.5 minutes left, so I'll try to get through these slides, and we can at least take 1 or 2 questions. So, of course, we're always talking about speed. Check your website speed. If you have issues with that, we can, talk about it later or another day. But just check the speed of your website. Make sure that people are coming to it and it's actually loading in less than 4 seconds, usually less than 2. Otherwise, they're going to bounce. And what does Google know about you? Everybody's like, oh, well, Google has all this history on you, and they know everything about you, and so you need to be taking that into consideration when you're trying to get clients online.
Yep.
Google knows a lot about you. They do, but they are not necessarily defining their search results for an individual person yet. They do base your future search results on your past searches that you've done, but don't worry too much about that yet. And of course, do we really still need to say, have a mobile-friendly website?
Yes, unfortunately we do. So if anybody has no idea what we're talking about, take out your phone and go look up your website on your phone. And if you need to swipe or pinch or slide to find your contact information, any of the content on your site is difficult to read, the answer is that you don't have a mobile-friendly website, and you're losing business to people that are otherwise might contact you because you're making their experience more difficult to find information, learn about you. Your potential clients, they've got short attention spans. They're going to go back to the results. Obviously, people that are referred to you might give you a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt, but think about what it says about, one, their experience, but also about your practice if your website is very difficult to use, looks out of date, and isn't providing that information that they're looking for. Yeah. And it's a search ranking factor. So for those of you that are trying to rank, make sure speed, mobile friendliness, security. Those have got to be top priorities. That goes to the technical stuff.
Yeah, and as a user, a pet peeve of mine is if you are like, oh yeah, I have a mobile site, but it's that separate mobile site that isn't your full website, fix that, please. Because as a user, that is also not friendly.
Yeah, the buzzword there is responsive design. You can go look up responsive design. That covers 90% of it. There's some exceptions to that, but make sure your site responds to all of the devices that people might access it on.
Yes. All right, we technically have a minute, so questions.
Yeah, so the question was, can you customize the buttons on the Google My Business call to action? They give you some predefined ones. I think there's like maybe a half dozen on there. I would test different types because, again, based on what the content you're putting up there, I would have one that maybe is like a really soft, like learn more, download something, and then a more direct response type of like book now or subscribe, depending on what you're offering there. But have a mix of those. Don't just use it as a direct response vehicle because they're going to be people that might not be ready to make that appointment, but they might be willing to like download something or learn more or watch a video.
Okay, we can probably do one more really, really quick. Anybody? Yes, yell it out.
Great question. So the question was, should you drive AdWords traffic to specific landing pages based on maybe geography or practice area, or have like drive them to like your homepage of your main site? And there are differing opinions on this. I know my friend sitting here, Conrad Sam, who's also at the conference, great guy to talk to about AdWords as well. I'm very, as a general rule, and there's obvious exceptions to it, the more tightly relevant your ad copy, your keywords, your ad groups, and your landing pages are from a relevance perspective, it's going to perform better. You're going to get a better quality score, which is basically Google's assessment of the combination of your copy, ads, and landing page. And the more tightly that is relevant, the higher the quality score. You're going to bring cost per clicks down. Your conversion rates are going to go up. And you know, if you think about it, it makes sense, right? So if someone's searching for a specific practice area in a specific place, are they more likely to look and hire and click and fill out forms and live chat requests and call those lawyers in their area that are speaking to the issues that they're dealing with, or are they going to be more likely to convert on a page that's just like more general legal information, regardless of how robust it is? So I strongly believe in keeping it very relevant between ad copy, keyword bid strategy, and landing pages.
Awesome.
Great question.
If you have any more questions, you can find us out there. We'll be out by our booth in a few
Thanks
minutes.
so much for joining us.
Thank you.